And I want to talk about one player in particular, Clayton Kershaw. He has to get his just due. We got to talk about Clayton Kershaw. The best pitcher of my generation. Now, I was born in '94. Yes, I grew up in the steroid era. But, as a teenager, Clayton Kershaw was coming up with the Dodgers. I'm a Phillies fan. 08, 09, 2010, Kershaw is just coming up. And he's going to be a good pitcher. But do you know he's going to be the greatest, probably the greatest pitcher of my generation, through my teens and 20s? I didn't think so. I mean, he has really good stuff, and he has some of the best stuff, obviously, we've ever seen now. And that curveball is legendary curveball, but he developed that slider, and that slider put him Cy Young level. And now people are saying he's one of the greatest of all time. Now, I don't know about, maybe. People say Sandy Koufax is one of the best of all time, and he didn't even, manufacture the stats that, now, in that small sample, Koufax put up amazing numbers. But Kershaw, he's won what? 3 Cy Youngs, 1 MVP to go along with that Cy Young. It's really hard for a pitcher to win an MVP. The only other pitcher I know of, in my era of watching baseball, in my generation, is Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander won the Triple Crown that year, wins the MVP, definitely deserving of an MVP, obviously. But Kershaw, that's the only person you probably put right behind Kershaw, right, is Justin Verlander. Verlander's probably, I don't think you can really argue those two. I think Kershaw has consistently put up those, two different types of pitchers, right? But Kershaw, like I said, that slider really put him over the top and made him the pitcher that he was throughout his prime. And for him to come through in not just the playoffs, but the World Series the way that he did this year, because he knows the pressure's there. We all know the pressure's there with Clayton Kershaw. And not to mention, and he's had bad postseason numbers, in the past, but he had to deal with the 2017 Astros, who knew, I forget what crazy stat is, but that the Astros were not swinging and missing to Kershaw's breaking pitches. I forget the exact stat, but they were not swinging and missing. Who knows? But maybe if they didn't know what pitches were coming from Kershaw, who knows if maybe Kershaw gets it done in that World Series, and we're not talking about Clayton Kershaw the way we're talking about him right now, of him finally getting over the hump. He had to deal with a cheated, regardless of what people's opinions are. I think most people that aren't Astros fans don't like what the Astros did and feel that they got a bigger punishment than what they got. But Kershaw, regardless of that, Kershaw gets it done. Kershaw, after past couple years having a terrible ERA and terrible numbers in the past, gets it done. He has a 2.31 ERA in the World Series in 2 starts. That's clutch. And in crucial games too. Game 1, you're setting the tone, you get the win. Game 5, it's a 2-2 in the series. If the Rays win, they're up 3-2, they're confident. But if you win, you're up 3-2 and you're confident. So for Kershaw to get it done the way he did was great to see. Obviously, I didn't feel like he deserved all the crap that he has gotten in the past about, the stuff in the playoffs. I think it was a tiny bit overblown, especially how we found out what we found out with the Astros. So, and I think that definitely plays a part. But, and especially as baseball isn't basketball or football. In football, if you're a quarterback, obviously a lot of the load falls on you. Baseball, even if you're a starting pitcher, you might only be starting 1 or 2 games per series in the playoffs. So, and people are saying that Mookie Betts is the best player in baseball right now. It's still Mike Trout. It is Mike Trout. Don't even talk to me about, I don't even want to get into that because that's a whole nother thing. But my point is that baseball, there's so many components to winning and to having a great team that You need to have a good bullpen. You need to have a good starting pitching staff. You need to have a good lineup. You need to have a solid bench. You need to have a solid pinch hitter that'll come in and who's going to get it done. You have to have a good closer in that bullpen. You need to have one, two, or three really good starting pitchers in that staff. It's a whole thing. So for Clayton Kershaw, yes, his postseason numbers haven't been great, but baseball isn't like basketball or football where it's on one guy. Okay, so Clayton Kershaw, yes, has he deserved some of the criticism? Yeah, but we're not gonna do it like we do with basketball and football. I love basketball and football, but we're not going to do it like that. We're not going to treat it like that because it's not like that, okay? So Clayton Kershaw gets it done. He has a 2.93 ERA overall this postseason, not just to go with that 2.31 ERA in the World Series. He gets a 2.93 ERA in the postseason. It shows you he did it consistently over the past month, not even just over a week span. Clayton Kershaw gets it done. And, and he's going to get a Hall of Fame plaque to go with all the accolades he has now. 7 years in 7 different years in top 5 Cy Young awards, Cy Young voting to go with the 3 Cy Youngs and the 1 MVP. 5 ERA titles, a few ERAs that were under 2, I believe. I think one year was he was hurt and he was on track to, he had a 1.69 ERA at that point and started about 21 games and Kershaw is easily one of the best pitchers, easily the best pitcher of my generation. Like I said, throw Verlander up there, but Kershaw, you got to give him the respect now. You can't say the narrative was there, and now we can't say anything about Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw, we are giving you your flowers, roses, whatever it is, while you can smell them. I forget the stupid saying, but Kershaw is getting his respect now. And give Clayton Kershaw his respect. That's it. Hey guys, just a friendly reminder to make sure you go subscribe to Rojas Media Podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast for sports takes, opinions, interviews, and more. That's Rojas Media Podcast, streaming wherever you get your podcast fix.